So what's up, guys? I wanted to share with you, I guess in more detail, kind of what's worked and what hasn't as far as getting something entertainment-wise-ish up and running, that kind of thing. Now, truthfully, we actually don't watch a ton of TV. We didn't watch a ton. We probably watch more in a house than we do now because we're out and about doing more things, but we do watch it sometimes. And we've just always grown up, you know, like around a TV. We like something kind of playing on the TV or something around back there. And so kind of, I'll talk about the hurdles and talk about our goals or what we wanted to get out of this as far as like a dream list. And then I'll talk about where we're at and how we're trying to get to what we want to get to. So hurdles compared to like being in a house versus being in an RV. Of course, in a house, unlimited internet, that wasn't a struggle. No big deal with that. In a house, we didn't have power issues as far as like trying to find things that didn't consume as much power, trying to find things that ran off a 12 volt instead of 120, you know, trying to find things that have to be bolted to the wall and constantly stuck in that place, trying to be able to have enough internet, or if we don't have unlimited internet with a house, how do we get internet on the road at all? Because the Wi-Fi in campgrounds is not reliable. So we had all these hurdles, and I think there's one more that I'll probably think of later. But our goal to make it feel probably as house-like as possible, to put it honest. But specifically our goal is to be able to have a lot of our shows and movies digital, which when we moved, we took our DVDs, all that. We just digitized everything. And then along the way, we've also digitized, especially a lot of the stuff that Hensley watches with PBS and TV shows. If you got kids, they watch a lot of the same stuff over and over and over. And it's like, well, what's the point of using all this data? And DVDs, we could get something with a DVD player. We could be popping that in, popping it out. But man, I mean, having stuff digitally is pretty cool. So right now, the gist of what we have, I'll just show you what we got. And every setup, we've had this TV with all kinds of different things. But this is getting close to what we want as an end result. So I like having a screensaver with our pictures. So this is pulling off of Google Photos. You can do an Apple TV, it'll pull off your Apple Photos if you want to, but we've grown closer and learned to really like Google Photos. So this is pulling off Google Photos like I like. When you go, you've got your home. Let's see, so this, right now what we're using is it's an NVIDIA Shield. It's the newest version. It's actually smaller than I thought it would be. So it's kind of like a mini computer. It's actually a gaming system too, which I don't game, but you can get a remote with it and actually play a lot of games with this thing too. I can't figure out, the bad thing is there's no way to get this powered that I know of, you know, through USB or through 12 volt, but that's okay. All this is just going to power up with our inverter and when we're plugged in and all that. But the gist of what we like, so Prime Video has a lot of stuff that just comes with Amazon that we use. Netflix, I'm actually still on my family's account. So YouTube, Plex, Hulu, Cody's something I'm testing out, so ignore that. But the goal, mainly, we want Plex, so we want something, Plex or Cody. Those play videos when we're not connected to the internet. And so the way Plex works, it's actually reading off of something that hosts it. So a lot of people have Plex on a computer, and then the TV is going to play what's on a computer. Well, I didn't want the hassle of having to have a computer on all the time. Not a big deal in the house, bigger deal on the road. So Plex is actually, all our stuff, actually it's over here, all our videos digitally are on this little hard drive right here. They're connected over here to the NVIDIA box over here. And then this is hosting or storing all the Plex videos. And so when I click this, basically this is the way it works. When I click this, it loads Plex. We've got our TV shows, we've got our movies. Hensley was watching that just a second ago. All movies, and then we can scroll through. These are all digital movies, TV shows. So, you know, these are the ones that like Hensley watches this over and over. Blippi, Curious George. We honestly don't watch a lot of these that much anymore. Have I ever shown this? Daddy reads. This is kind of cool, actually. So when Hensley was a little girl, I read books to her. Let's see. Oh, it's connected to the headphones still. One of our goals was for it to work with our Apple earbuds we have, because sometimes, you know, this is a small space. So sometimes if Marissa's up or I'm up, we want to watch a movie together, which happens very rarely. It's really nice to have these because we can watch the TV and listen to stuff with these when we want to. Or if Marissa wants to wear them while she's walking around and cleaning, doing stuff in the kitchen, she can hear a show in the background, that kind of thing, without everybody having to hear what she's watching. That's what these do. What I did, I sat down, I read books with Hensley when she was little, because I thought, well, this would be cool when she gets older. And
Dear said. No more monkeys jumping on the bear.
So we just read books together. But we took this.
4 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off.
But and this is why I love the digital stuff. And this is part of how we got started on YouTube, is like, we're going to create digital media that we can save for a long time. We can share with people quickly. And so I recorded, I don't know, 30, 40 of these videos of me reading books to her. And then so I've got that for good. We can access it anytime we want with our TV. And then sometimes, like, I'm like, I'll play it while she's eating breakfast or something, and she loves it. Absolutely loves seeing that. So that's pretty cool. Again, that's just all the digital movies and videos and stuff. And it's a big deal for us to have things digitally like that, because we don't always have internet either. You know, that's the first reason, is because we play stuff over and over. Second reason is because if we don't have internet, it's nice to have that. Hensley's still got something to watch. We've got this stuff going on. So having Plex, you know, is really nice. So Plex has TV shows, it has our movies, all that kind of stuff hosted on. And Plex isn't the only option. You know, I mentioned Kodi, some people use VLC, but those are all players that play some sort of a media device. So that was one of our goals. This was another goal, having a Bluetooth headset. Another goal was to have all these channels. Believe it or not, some of these companies don't get along with each other. I think they're starting to do better. But if you buy a certain device, like I can't remember if it was the Apple TV, like Prime Video didn't work on it or something like that. So you'd be amazed when you look into these things, tiny little things that don't work like they're supposed to. We liked Prime Video because, again, if you got kids, all the PBS stuff, Daniel Tiger, Eat the Cat, Nature Cat, Wild Kratts, which is a really good educational show for kids. But anyways, you get access to all this stuff. But then we ran into the problem of, you can't always, it wants to play all this in 4K, which is a lot of data. And like, to compare the different data settings, the low data setting, got really orange in here, the low data setting for a lot of this stuff, it'll consume like, you know, 0.5, let's see, what, 500 megs per hour, I think. And then the high setting is like 5 gigs per hour or something like that. I mean, if it's on the high setting, it's like 10 times more data per hour. So it's a big deal if you don't watch what these videos are taking. And so some of your apps, like Netflix, does a great job. You can go to their website, netflix.com, and you can set it to be the low one, no matter, based on the account, no matter like what device is using it. And that's really nice. But all the other ones don't do that. Hulu doesn't do that. I don't know about YouTube, but for the most part, no. And so the problem is, you get in here, and when you're trying to play a video, it's really high quality, and there's no way to change that setting inside of some of these devices. Now, some of the devices you can, this one you can't. So what I did was, I didn't mention this in the YouTube video, but I cheated it a little bit. Let's see, I think it went here. I changed the TV from 1080p to 720, and what that does, it tells the internet that, hey, you don't need to use so much internet because this TV is only 720 anyways. So at least we're not using 5 gigs an hour, we're probably using a gig an hour, I'm guessing, maybe something like that. So not ideal, but better than what we had. So I think that's getting pretty close to what, you know, we're getting really close to what we want. That was one of the big hurdles on this one, was that it was using too much data. So I think that's most of the big stuff we're looking for. We're looking for that. We want everything to come from our hotspot and work with it like it needs to off of our boosted Wi-Fi. I say Wi-Fi, but boosted cell antenna signal and all that. We noticed something weird. We noticed too. You wouldn't think of stuff like this, but sometimes when I had one device, I think it was the Mi Box, whatever it is. But for some reason, when we didn't have internet, all of a sudden, like, the Plex would stop working, which doesn't make sense because Plex and all that stuff is local. It's just working right off of this. It shouldn't even need internet to work. And so you run into, I would get these devices and I'd run into these weird little quirks. With the iMac, so I'd say the iMac was the closest I got to something working like I wanted it to. And then it's looking like this NVIDIA Shield. It's like the mothership of this stuff. Like, and it's not very popular, not very common. It's like an Android TV device, but Android has access to all the things that Roku does. So mostly you hear of Roku, Apple TV, Google Chromecast, but I'll talk about the problems with each one. Let me start with the iMac first. So the iMac, of course, we didn't usually have our keyboard sitting up there with it. So every once in a while, if Marissa wanted to go and look for a video on YouTube or something like that, for instance, we only had, which is really slick looking. I mean, Apple does a really good job of making stuff look good, but functionality wise, like, I could have a thing where she could like move around and click the letters and type in like a YouTube video or something she's searching for, but Not nearly as cool. Like check this out. Workout video. Look at that. Look at that. It went into YouTube and found workout videos. And I think it's logged into my account, so it kind of, not that I was doing these, but it knows what I said. It knows kind of what I've used in the past. And so it's doing that. Let's see. Daniel Tiger.
Here's some information about Daniel Tiger's neighborhood.
Okay, well, it knows I had it on Plex. So it knows I've got some Daniel Tiger in Plex. It knows it's on YouTube. It didn't pick up, this is actually inside Amazon Prime. It didn't pick that up. But so, I mean, you know, not perfect. But at the same time, let me flip on some of these lights. Duke. So not perfect. But if you can imagine, way better than like... So, she wasn't crazy about it, because if you want to watch Amazon Prime, you had to go and open the browser and watch it through that. And then none of those Netflix, they all had to open the browser every time and do that instead of just click, 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 and you're there. So it just took longer to navigate, but everything worked. It worked with the AirPods. It was smooth, it was fast, it was clean, did the screensaver I wanted to do after some tweaking and stuff like that. I think the biggest hurdle ultimately was just the pain in the bum factor for the wife. she just, it's just not, it's way easier to use this than to have to use this and scroll around, find what you want, tap on it, maximize the screen. Maybe if you got to search for something, it takes forever, you're typing in letters versus, you know, if you got to type something in, it's a little bit of a pain, but you can bounce around and do it with this if you need to, or you can talk to it and it gets pretty close a lot of times. So that was the iMac deal. Love the way it looked and a lot of other things. But the screen was definitely a better screen than this TV. But I can get a better TV if I need to, if the NVIDIA Shield works. So that was the reason for the iMac. Some of the other stuff, let me lift you guys up a little bit here. Is that looking, yeah, it looks pretty good. These have absolutely nothing to do with the video. One of those days. So here's some of the stuff. Should be enough for me to use it to explain. All right. So this, up until I tried the iMac, was probably my favorite. As far as affordability, like you can get this at Walmart. I don't remember, very cheap. 50 bucks or less, I think, something like that. But it's a Mi Box, My Box, something like that. It's an Android device as well. I've had good luck with Android devices. But it was starting to be, it was quirky with the AirPods. And then the other thing, it wasn't pulling the videos for Plex like it was supposed to. And then there's another reason. I should have wrote all this stuff down probably. But it had 2 or 3 things, and it'll hit me later what it was. But it had like 3 things I didn't like about it. So it wasn't just one thing, it was 3 things that it wasn't doing correctly. This is a Raspberry Pi. It's kind of like a mini computer. It hosted Plex and everything ran off of it, but I want to say it didn't have Amazon Prime, or it was missing one of the channels, and then it didn't work with Plex when we didn't have internet for some unknown reason. Very annoying. Maybe there's a workaround. I couldn't figure it out. Let's see. Oh, and it was pretty much like a computer, so we had to use a keyboard or use this. We didn't use this, but anyway, something like that. With the Roku devices, I've tested the Roku Ultra, I think is their newest big one. I've tested that. I've tested the 3. I've tested this one. The big downfall of Roku is it doesn't play all media types. So like our Plex stuff, where we're trying to access our movies and our shows, is it MKV, AVI? I think it's AVI it doesn't like. There's like 2 or 3 file formats Roku does not like. Apple TV is the worst. Like it doesn't like half the files we have. So when we try to see our movies or see something, half of them just don't show up. So that's the big weakness on the Apple TV and the Rokus, is that. But the Mi Box, it did pretty good. And then the Raspberry Pi did pretty good with that. And stuff that's like not Roku and not Apple TV seems to do better with it, something that's Android based. And then the other thing with Roku, so you can take, and the same thing with the Ultra pretty much, this is the 3, but I could have a flash drive with a movie or TV show and I could plug it in right here, but I couldn't plug in like a big giant hard drive with all my stuff on one. So I'd have to move it to a flash drive, plug it in here. There are ways to power, I know, through like a USB hub and all that, but ultimately with this, I had to have something else running Plex. So at one point I had like a Mac Mini, all this stuff. If you guys are still watching, I mean, I feel like I need to share because I've done all this, and I hope it's helpful for you guys that have stuck with me, because I know this is a lot of tech stuff. But you know, I had an Apple Mac Mini off to the side running Plex with all of our movies, all of our shows. And then those would come over to this, which is, so to me, when you're on the road and you're looking for something set up, you want to keep the amount of devices down as much as you can. You don't want something running something that's running something that's running something, because there's just too many points of failure, especially when you're moving around and you lose internet or something gets bumped or shook, or, you know, the power supply's weird. So yeah, I pretty much couldn't play stuff off of this. I had to pull it off of a computer or something else, which meant I had to have a whole other device, which was kind of a pain. So ultimately, but as far as Roku, like the navigation and the speed, and they have tons of apps, they've been out forever, very stable, love all that. But it had its weak spots too. So conclusion, so I think if you don't have movies and TV shows that are offline, like if you don't need the Plex solution, honestly, like probably Roku, just go with the Roku. I mean, it's stable, does what you need, it's fairly priced. Apple TV will probably do what you need as well. Double check though to make sure that they have all the apps you want to have, because I want to say they were bumping heads with somebody. And as far as the Roku, I mean, which one is this? This is most of them are decent. They're mostly decent. Oh, I tried the Kindle. Amazon has the Fire. I think I tried 2 of their devices, like the Fire Stick and something else Fire. Same deal. It couldn't. I had to have a whole separate computer playing my media files and then run Plex with the Amazon Fire. Is it even called the Fire? Anyways, there's so much different stuff. So I have tried that one as well. It's the same issue. If you don't need the videos to the side, I think Roku's a great solution. Probably put maybe Apple TV second, something like that. But if you need the movies and the TV shows and stuff like that on the side, I think going with an Android-based device is going to be a better bet. This is your most budget-friendly option, 50-ish bucks, something like that. And then the NVIDIA device I'm trying out is like $177, so it's on the higher end. That's like the basic option. There's like a Pro one above that too, but unless you're playing games and stuff like that, I don't think the Pro one's that big of a deal. So it's like $177, but you got to think, like, which is a lot. At the time, at the very beginning, I knew about the NVIDIA one. I was like, I don't want to pay that. Like, that's silly. But like your Apple TV, I think it's up to like 150 or 170 now. So it's right in the range of the upper end stuff on a lot of them. It's definitely looked the best so far. Right now, the plan is I think I'm going to clean this up. Mount this back up here. That was an issue with the Apple TV 2. Mounting it was very difficult. I had it sitting here on this to get it mounted on the wall. I think there might have been a mount that would work, but this will be Velcro to the back. That'll be Velcro to the back, and all this will be cleaned up, and it won't be supported by books, hopefully. So that's my 2 cents. That's more like 20 cents. 50 cents. I had to say 50. I'll stop. That's kind of my take on a lot of this stuff. From what we've learned so far, technology is always changing. Things are always changing. And so because it's always changing, and because I'm into technology and I like doing this kind of stuff, it's just something I like. Some people piddle with cameras, some people with guns, some people with, everybody's got things they like to work with. And I've always liked technology. It's fun to me. Frustrating for a lot of people, but fun for me. So that's what I've learned. I hope that's helped. If you guys got questions, obviously just let me know in the comments. That's what we're here for. And thanks so much for watching, guys. Catch you later.